Oh, hey girl. Today, we're going to talk about evil. Hey girl. What is evil? Do you have a personal definition of evil? Do you believe in evil?
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
Let's talk about evil. Let's talk
Theodicy is the problem of evil. That's what we called it when I was a philosophy major at a Catholic college. And Catholics, Christians, Jewish people, Muslims, the monotheists tend to have strong views on good and evil. And I honestly think most people on planet Earth have an undergirding that they can't see and they are more or less unconscious of that tells them something is good and something is evil, something is good and something is evil. But what about Zen Buddhists? What did my teacher, Rinzai Zen Buddhist master, have to say about evil? The devil, Lucifer, right? I will never forget a quote he gave during one of his public lectures one time. It perfectly summed up his teachings on evil. He said, he prefaced this with an observation, which is that basically most human beings seem to call evil that which negates them and their values and their safety and health. So basically we call evil that which negates us, and we call good that which affirms us. My green tea water is boiling. And he said, as the water came to a boil, he said, "You must hold God and the devil in one hand." You gotta hold God, you gotta hold the devil in one hand. Okay, so what does that mean? Essentially, I think what my teacher was saying was, no you don't. No you don't. You don't get to project evil out there into the world. I was on Instagram yesterday and somebody posted a story with clips of a preacher. And he was up at the podium in a very large, crowded church. You know, a televangelist, basically. This dude had had a lot of work done on his face. Whatever his intention was with this plastic surgery, it had the opposite effect. He looked like a satanic pig. Sorry to have to say it, but he did. His eyes were pig eyes, swine eyes, way sunken, way back in his skull. And his face was sort of very shiny from all the, I don't know what they do. They burnish your skin now and inject you with chemicals that make you glow. I'm not up on plastic surgery, but the dude looked positively satanic. He really did. And he had the gift for manifesting the presence of evil. And he was like, "Satan is coming for you. Satan is coming. He's coming up through you. And he's doing it like this." And he's like warning his congregation about evil. But he was doing it so well that you found yourself thinking, homeboy doth protest too much. He had that spark of evil within him. and he made a very lucrative career, and probably genuinely in his own mind answered a calling to combat evil, answered a calling to combat the evil that he sees everywhere in the world around him, because that flame of what he calls evil is flickering endlessly, burning inside his own chest. And what my teacher, I think, was saying with that statement, hold God and the devil in one hand, is take the backwards step, as the Zen master Dogen called it, which is to say, introspect a little bit, like pause, take yourself out of the world, turn away from the podium, turn away from your audience, turn away from your role as a spiritual ringleader. Do some work on yourself. Sit on a cushion. Frustrate your ego over and over and over. Find nothing through your spiritual practice. No good, no God, no angel, no insight, no Buddha, no Satori, no Kensho. Find nothing. And then sit with and in that nothing. It's called becoming humble, Pastor Boy. It's called hummus of the earth, becoming of the earth, okay? And then one day, you feel that flicker of evil in you when you see something in the outside world that triggers it. And you see that the evil that is out there is also in me. I remember when I got ordained as a Zen Buddhist monk. It's called Tokudo Shiki. You should get tonsure, where teacher shaves the final little piece of hair from the back of your head. You get your robes, you do your bows before your parents, and the teacher, the Zen master, takes responsibility for you now for a little while he and his community train you and help you learn Buddhism. Remember, in the midst of all this very confusing and interesting happenings at my ceremony, my teacher turned to me and he said, Kensho, which means, let's say it means awakening. Kensho means you look at the other and you see yourself. And at the time, I was so charmed by this definition. It seemed to me to be a description of love and camaraderie and companionship. I'm one with men and women and trees and fake candles and books and crystal globes. I'm one with everything. Okay? But what that also means is I'm one with, or I have within me, that darkness that I see in the world around me, and that I see in the hearts of other men. I'm recognizing their darkness because I have it too. I think the types of people who look out into the world and see a lot of evil out there, or oppression, or tyranny, or they see a certain group or type of person and come to think of that type of person or group as evil, and project all these terrible qualities on it. There are certain people that do this really well. I'm sure you know of some, right? And they have a good ability to whip us all up and make us think there are evil things out there too. I think these are people who have a large amount of evil inside of them. And I think they're people who have not looked at this evil. They feel it at their backs and they won't turn around, take that backwards step and face it. They maybe don't even know how. They maybe don't even know that this is a remote possibility. They just feel its presence inside of them and they gallop full speed ahead, projecting out into the world the evil, the heat, the black heat they feel at their backs. And I think there's a lot of this happening politically in the world right now. What got me thinking about this, my friends, is a personal story that I'm going to tell you right now. Here goes. I'll disguise identities a little bit to protect the innocent and the guilty. When I graduated from college, I moved to Los Angeles. I met a fine young woman, and she was my girlfriend for many years and was Catholic. She was from Arkansas, let's say. Her father was a philosophy professor at the University of Arkansas and was the founder of, again, I am disguising identities, the founder of the Arkansas Right to Life, the anti-abortion organization. My girlfriend had been adopted, so her father had put his money where his mouth was and had actually talked to a woman who was going to have an abortion and said, I will adopt your daughter. So the woman did not have the abortion, gave birth to my future girlfriend. There were a few children, my girlfriend, and there were a couple of sons and a couple of daughters. Now, one of the sons was a fail son. He was kind of a Hunter Biden, kind of like Eric and Donald Jr. Trump, like kind of one of these kids that could never make good. I recently read a wonderful novel by Marilynne Robinson. It's a wonderful, difficult book that deals with this guy named Jack who just can never quite get his life together. He's got like a touch of badness in him, and everything he touches turns out a little bit bad as a result. And the Protestant Calvinist author Marilynne Robinson is really interrogating what, like through a lens of her Calvinism, how some people just seem to be possessed by a spirit of ill will or naughtiness or badness, or we could even say a touch of evil. And I have to be honest, my girlfriend's brother, let's call him Ted, my girlfriend's brother Ted had this touch of badness in him, okay? I mean, I remember we were at a bar and there was this was in the South, and there was a condom machine over the toilet, and he didn't like that. And he was drunk. He was a raging alcoholic, it must be said. And he pulled the condom machine off the wall. It fell down, smashed to the toilet. The plumbing was all exposed, and water began spraying out. And the guy walks out of the bathroom, goes up to the bar. He had these absolutely azure, cyan, sky blue eyes. They were the kind of eyes you can see right through into the other side of the universe. Beautiful, penetrating, mysterious eyes. And he walks up to the bar and he orders a beer, and he starts drinking. By the end of the night, there is like 4 inches of water in the entire bar. There's chaos. The guy who owns the place is freaking out. People are beginning to steal things off the walls because nobody's paying attention anymore. And there was some cool like antlers and stuff on the walls. Total chaos. This was the kind of guy that he was. Wherever he went, trouble followed. Now, later, he got his act together, and I have followed him online over the years. I've watched him become an extremely strong and influential anti-abortion activist. He was such a strong activist that he even earned the rebuke of the Catholic bishops in his state because he was so far to the right of them. He was even more far right than the most far right Republicans, right? He used the word evil again and again and again. He saw evil with those beautiful, penetrating blue eyes. This fail son, this troubled man, this ne'er-do-well at heart who tried so hard to make good. And the only path, apparently, that he saw to make good, now I'm sounding like a preacher myself, the only path that he saw to make good was to look out in the world and see evil. He made bad out there. He made it bad. He was so judgmental. And he married this woman, a bit of an ice queen. I met her, a bit of an ice queen, I would offer. Now what, right? I Google him recently. The last time I had Googled him, the dude was extremely far right and at the top of that world. He was successful. And I Googled him, and the dude all I could think was, it was like Shakespearean. It was tragic. He had totally fallen from grace. Totally fallen from grace. He had had an affair with another very far right Catholic idealist who had a plan to build kind of a utopian Catholic community somewhere and had raised millions and millions of dollars to do this. And he had had an affair with her. He had been fired from this Right to Life organization, an organization which was like the crown jewel of his father's legacy, and which this fail son who was trying to make good ultimately destroyed, along with, one presumes, his wife's trust, his standing in his community, his reputation. I think I'm so obsessed with Teddy's story because it is instructive. It's instructive. It's like we could call it the boomerang philosophy of evil. All the evil that you project out into the world, like somehow it all in the end comes back to you. It's a reflection of something that I'm carrying around in my heart, some bit of nastiness that doesn't have my face on it yet and that I don't want to really look at and see. Or maybe there is some part of my personality that I have ignored that is underdeveloped or anemic, some little plant in the garden of my character that I have failed to water and that is withering, and when I see it in the world around me somewhere growing strong, I demonize it, I other it, I call it evil. In closing, what I'm trying to do lately, because maybe I've been in the habit of projecting a little bit of evil out into the world around me, especially because it's presidential and vice presidential debate season. I find my projecting muscles getting very strong during election seasons. What I'm finding is it's helpful for me to hold in suspension the judging, the labeling, the collapsing of the wave function into the absence of probability and the manifestation of reality and fact, i.e., that person, that thing is evil. I'm finding it instructive and helpful to just pause before I do that and just stay, as Pema Chodron used to say. Just stay. 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 Don't give in to the projection. The impulse to project a negative label on something in my surroundings, if not given into, boomerangs all the way back around and takes me deep within myself and perhaps leads to a greater truth, a deeper piece of wisdom, something that I've been trying to avoid. And what usually happens is I laugh instead of being destroyed by rage over the evil politician whose speech makes me want to take up arms. Instead of being destroyed by the person, I can laugh at them and laugh with them and laugh at the stupid mistakes they're falling into that I didn't just fall into in terms of projecting my evil onto them. And I can have compassion for all of us. And I can sort of relate to the whole of humanity, man, because we all have the same foundation. We're all human beings. We all, whether we're far right, whether we're far left, whether we're Islamic fundamentalists, whether we're Zionist fundamentalists, whether we're a Zen Buddhist monk or a Catholic pro-life activist, man, we have all ultimately way much more in common. Our humanity, okay? We share the same foundation. I'm going to close on that. I hope that was helpful. If you want to support this channel, you can go here to patreon.com/showsonjackhobner. Increasingly, Patreon is how I pay my bills, and it gives me inspiration and financial help to continue to return to this camera week after week and connect with y'all through these videos. So thank you to my patrons so much for your support. And you can go patreon.com/showsonjackhobner here to support this channel, or you can go to the link to PayPal in the video description below. You can make a one-time donation. That's really helpful when people do that. I like that, but I appreciate your support. You can even hit like and hit subscribe and hit notifications. That is also a form of support. Or you don't have to do any kind of support at all. You can say phooey, sayonara, see you later. Either way, I'll see you later next week here